Pistons film, welcome back to the official Detroit Pistons podcast. I'm your host, 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗓, and today we have Motor City Cruise head coach Jamelle McMillan. Now, you're probably saying, that name sounds familiar. Why does that name ring a bell? He is son of former NBA vet and former coach Nate McMillan. So we talk about his time with an NBA dad, growing up in Seattle. And you might also hear some things about what he likes to keep in his bag. Make sure to stay tuned. Please keep watching, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
That's why I signed up for the job. Just that is the experience that this provides. How do you just figure it out? You got to find a way.
Wait, can I say?
Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Jamelle, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you? Great to be here. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you for being here, first and foremost. But, you've been in Detroit now for, 6 months?
Somewhere in there.
6 months? How's it been treating you?
It's cool, man. It's cool. Just been coming here about 9-10 years now throughout my time in the league. Obviously, quick trips in and out. So I didn't know there's that much to be had here. Like, it's a community that's got so much to offer. Generally, I'm a room service guy due to the freezing weather as a visiting coach. But it's cool. Live out in Troy and hanging out in Royal Oak, so I'm cool.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
good.
bit of a hidden gem.
It is.
I think the perception of Detroit is a little different than when you're actually here. And Metro Detroit, like the areas
Without
around it
question.
too. Yeah.
Without question.
Have you found your spots yet? Like your go-tos?
Not outside of the gym.
Okay.
I'm a big Gus's on Woodward is a spot I frequent. I'm all over the place. I'm random. My assistants are kind of throwing me in different places. She-Wolf and a couple other spots.
I'm sure the minute you got here, it was just been work. It's like instant work.
Without question.
You don't have the time. Right. Hopefully during the off season, we can get you some go-to spots to go.
I mean, initially when I signed here, I probably would have had a little bit more time, but then the opportunity came up to be in the head seat, and that killed all my free time. So,
I mean, it's a good opportunity. So,
without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
So, your roots are Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Comparing Detroit to Seattle, how was it?
Oof. Our football team's better.
Wow. Interview's over. It's been great. I think we can end it right there.
I'm die hard, man.
Yeah.
I'm die hard. But no, in all seriousness, all the sports are here. It's cool sports town. I'm learning that with all the chatter amongst the community for the Lions, for the Pistons, the Red Wings, all that stuff. Cabrera's last year. It's pretty cool to be a part of, even though I'm not necessarily a baseball guy, but to see a Hall of Famer like that go in the books, that's pretty cool. So it's very similar, and the people operate kind of the same, stay to themselves. We dress similar due to the weather. I think it gets a little bit colder here than
just a little.
A little bit colder, but it's cool, man. I'm really enjoying it. It's treated me well. All the support's been awesome.
Yeah. So growing up in Seattle, have a father who's NBA.
Mm-hmm.
How is that for you? Like, how is it growing up as an NBA kid?
I don't have much to compare it to, but I can tell you it's tremendous experience. Just the travel, the arenas, and just being in buildings such as the facility, running around as a kid, getting in trouble and all that kind of stuff, and being around guys that ultimate pros. Back then it was an era of basketball that was significantly different than it is now, and some of those historic teams, even in Detroit, coming up to Seattle and playing the Gary Paytons and the Sean Kemp's and all that. It was a fun time in the sport. So growing up around that generation of basketball was pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you get to travel a lot?
I went to the finals when they played the Bulls in '96. That's probably the most memorable experience that I had traveling. When my dad was in Portland, we stayed in Seattle, so flipping back and forth there. Holiday time would be a time where we went to Golden State a couple times when those guys played on Christmas Day and all that kind of stuff. So the Garden was also obviously
it's a special place.
Yeah, obviously probably the mecca of our sport. So, invaluable experience, man. Just being able to get around the country and have my career take me around the country with the basketball and just see a lot of different players from different places.
Perfect. This might be an obvious answer, but growing up around basketball, was it almost set in stone like I'm going to be a player or I'm going to be a coach or I'm going to be at least in this world?
No.
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 So, okay, you're younger. What did you think you were going to do growing up?
Tech.
Tech?
Yes.
Okay.
I was on my way to Microsoft out of school, out of college, and ended up with an opportunity with Coach Monty Williams in New Orleans at the time. This was 2012. We had just finished the Olympics. My dad was coaching on the Olympic team, and I helped out a little bit going to the London Olympics. Came back, was in North Carolina on my couch, about to head back home and go out to Seattle and get into that world, get mixed up out in there. And, Dell Demps and Coach called me and, offered me opportunity to come get in the way. And so that year there was a hurricane that was in September, and after it was over, I headed down and got in the way. And so far, Coach has taken care of me early on and all throughout. So really fortunate for him.
Was that a no-brainer decision for you? Because you have this like
yes, yeah.
Okay.
It's like if you really, I had always said if I ended up in the NBA, it'd be in front office type situation. I just really was in the suit and tie mindset, the boardroom mindset at the time, with my background in business management and major and all that kind of stuff, and just moving some stuff around up in a boardroom. And so when I was asked to come and be in the way out in the mix, it was probably an hour-long thought, if that. That was mainly just to have the conversation, like, yeah, I'm going. So
you brought up Monty. Can we get a little bit of insight? Monty back then, Monty now. Has anything changed?
Yeah, his pre-practice workouts are a lot more tame.
Tame?
Than they were back then. Now he's on the Peloton for, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. But back then we were out on the field at 6:45, 7 o'clock in the morning, pushing sleds, plates over our head, myself and one of the other video guys who's now the assistant GM in New Orleans, Bryson Graham. We had a good time with Coach. He just a time to just talk, mentorship, all that kind of stuff. It was awesome that he just wrapped his arms around us. And so watching him now work out as opposed to then, it's a pretty interesting deal.
Yeah. And how was that experience for you? Because you came in as developmental coach, right? So going from starting there, how did that lead the path to eventually assistant coach to where you are now?
Just Coach keeps good people around him, and those guys, they really embrace me. Fred Vinson, who's still the shooting coach in New Orleans, Kevin Hansen, who's in Minnesota. Those guys were the player development guys at the time, and so Anthony Davis and Austin Rivers were the rookies at the time then, and I was out guarding, I was rebounding, I was Coach's special assistant, taking his kids to swim lessons on occasion and all that kind of stuff. So I was all over the place doing video. And those guys just were like, look, here, you got this player, and gave me responsibility early. And so I really am fortunate for those guys to have looked at me as an asset to help out and, kind of given me some sort of opportunity just to grow myself. And I was able to do that. The players were receptive. We had a good time with it.
Yeah. So now you're with the Crews. Second head coach ever. How did that opportunity become available for you?
Well, I was at Summer League with the team, and I just was, trying to help 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗓 in any way possible. He did a really good job throughout the week. And so we were doing the workouts all week, myself, Spencer Rivers, and working with the players. A lot of the Crews players were part of that. And honestly, the last day of Summer League, I was walking into Aria and got a call from Coach asking me if I would like to be an extension of him. And, for him to, again, look to me to do something like that and to kind of provide that voice and have that presence in the same building, but kind of aside from him, I was honored that he trusted me with something like that. And so we had a discussion about it, talked to Troy about it, and, I called home and was like, look, another opportunity to get better.
Detroit.
We're out. so it was kind of random how it happened, but once I was going through it and talking through it with coach and everything, it's just like, man, this guy's called on me multiple times, and he's a tremendous family friend. Him and my dad have a close relationship and everything, and so really love him to death. He's really, really looked out for me.
So did you ever see yourself being a part of the G League, or was it something where you were on this path, like I'm an assistant coach, I'm going to work myself up to within the NBA realm to potentially a head coach, or did you always think of the G League as an opportunity?
Early, I didn't, because I didn't know as many guys as I've known in the recent 3, 4, 5 years who have had opportunities in the G League to coach and be a part of it and to see how they glow about it. Yeah. They anybody who's worked at this level and has been in this seat loves it. They love it. And so far I do as well. I think it's something that you look around the league, there's a lot of coaches that started in this spot. There's a lot of coaches who were up, such as myself, and look to go back and try and get an opportunity just because the league has changed a lot with the teams buying into it, and so many players have been here and getting up, and there's a connectivity now that wasn't there, I think, when I first started. And so the experience that you get now with this, just having to make so many decisions on a day-to-day basis, communicate in a completely different way than you ever have before, is something that's very necessary, I think, for everybody, just so you know how to help better when you are at that level, and know what a guy like Coach Monty's thinking throughout a game, and how you can communicate with him, or what to leave out, because he just might not be turning that way at the time. And so this is awesome. It's been a really, really tremendous experience for me, and the players have really made it that.
So everyone talks about the talent in the NBA. It's a ton of talent.
Yeah.
Even the not so great teams, like, to make that roster, you have to be amazing at your craft.
Really good. Yeah.
So with the G League, it's the same. Is that why there's so much love for being a part of the G League? Because the talent is there, but also there's more opportunities. There's also greater areas for advancement, would you say?
Yeah, it's a place where you really, for players, they can identify who they are as players. Like what they're really about, the 80% that you can bank on from a guy, he can really show that here, and the other 20% that he needs to work on, or just needs to be made aware of. That's coming from guys who have been around the league and understand just the sliver that it takes to either have success or to fail. That's pretty cool for these guys, especially when you get to the younger guys like the G League Ignites and all that stuff, who think they know but really just don't know. It kind of gives you a look at the pace of the game. I think that's the biggest adjustment for players going to that level, is the pace of the game. The athlete being just, these are the best athletes on earth. Mm-hmm. And, some of those windows, some of those driving gaps, some of those shots, that window closes quick. And so it gets them up to speed in the game. It gets them up to speed with the terminology of the league, because we all try to stay pretty much parallel to our respective programs and everything like that. And so being able to translate and decipher all that and sift through that, and then just the biggest thing is being a pro. The biggest thing is being a pro, how you approach the day-to-day basis, your mindset, approaching your job, and how you go about your business, I think is the biggest lesson that they give.
Can you give us a little bit of insight into the Stanleys of the world, the two-way players, the Malcolms, the Jareds? What are the adjustments they have to make from a game to game, where in my head it seems like they might not necessarily know if they're playing for the Pistons one day or they're playing for the Crews another day? How is that for them? And is there anything that you do specifically to like help them with that transition?
Yeah, that's tough. We found out that Malcolm and Jared were playing the first game the day 24 hours before. We found out Stan was playing less than 24 hours before. Our next game, we're kind of up in the air with it, and they've been practicing with those guys. So mentally, that's impressive for those guys to go back and forth, and try to deal with two different coaches. The structure of one, the structure of another. Your day-to-day routine is probably shot. You can't have one just because we practice in the afternoon at 2. They're practicing in the morning, 10, 11 o'clock. So your body clock is off. The travel, we're on a bus for 2.5 hours. Then they're on a plane with the Pistons at night, and leaving after the game at night. So sleep and all that stuff just running over, plus retaining all the information. And so I've kept it as simple as possible for everybody, even the non-two-ways, just so let's get good at the basics. Let's get good at the fundamentals of this thing, and really have defined the role for those two-way guys. Like, just do A, B, we'll get to C later. But when you come here, go for A, go for B, and that's different for each one of those guys, of what they bring to the team. And the biggest thing is their teammates embrace them. I know that's not the case in a lot of situations at this level. Guys, like you said earlier, trying to get their opportunity.
You're fighting for your opportunity.
You're in the way, so to speak. But these guys here, man, the spirit of our group is really, really big time. I value those guys, and I really respect them for the way they keep the spirit in the gym. So our guys, they got the backing from me. They got the backing from upstairs and everything like that. And I think they're all in a tremendous place right now.
But for you, now the two-way guys is great, but for you as a coach, when you don't know who's going to be playing 24 hours earlier, how does that work for you?
That's why I signed up for the job. Just that is the experience that this provides. How do you just figure it out? You got to find a way. And rotation-wise, it's all over the place, but then that influences a different type of communication. Certain guys who may get shorted, right, during the games. Some guys who've done some good things in practice, but now, we got to move some pieces around. Your time's going to come. And so that's growth for me, just having to go to a guy who is fighting for his career, who's trying to put himself in position for a look, and try to give him something to hold on to, for the week, for the month, for that game, all that stuff, so that he stays engaged, he stays ready to go. And I love it. That's running to coaching. And again, if you keep it simple, if you make the simple play, it all seems to work out.
Well, we're a few games in. Has that growth for you, even though I know you said you love it, you're running towards it, has it been difficult, or has it seemed to, for you, has it been something that's you've taken on with ease?
Not too bad.
Not too bad?
But it's because of the people. The people make this. Like, the communication from top to bottom has been big time from everybody, like whether it's the front office, PR, medical staff, coaching staff, players. I think everybody's on the same page. In my prep work, as I go into the day-to-day with whether it be game, whether it be practice and everything, just having a plan is the key to this whole thing. And if you try to make it up randomly, that's where you're kind of going to get in trouble, what I found early. Just you got to have a plan, and then you just plug and play, adjust as you may. And sometimes it works, sometimes your practice plan is going to go longer. I've run into that a couple of times. You think you can get more in, but you got to do more teaching, and that's okay. But my assistants, these guys are some of the best in the business. With the way they've helped me understand this G League lifestyle. You know, the game is different, the rules are different, the travel's different. You know, there's a lot of moving parts that they have come to me in different increments about, and they've really they've backed me 100%. So I really value those guys.
This is your first head coaching role, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what does training look like for you when you're looking at a guy who's coming straight out of college or maybe even straight out of high school, and they have the opportunity to be a part of the league, but you know there's things that they need to work on. How do you, or maybe it's player to player, how do you make those adjustments for them, or how do you put together a plan to further what could potentially be their career?
I think you got to know them. You have to do the extra work before we get to this point in order to try to understand who they are, and then you got to ask them who they think they are. Who are you? You know, like, where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself as now? What's given you success? What's helped you? You know, all those different things. Try to get comps of players I may have coached, players from around the league, all that stuff, where you see each guy, how they can fit, or what they could do in order to get a look. And that's difficult in some instances. Some guys think one thing or think another, but, you know, really, really, really understanding and doing the legwork behind where they've been, what they've done, and who they are. And that's what I spent all of August doing, really deep diving on the internet, everything from their parents, their dog, everything. What is their story? And what's the story behind the man? And so that's something we talked about a lot as a team at the beginning of this whole thing. How do I help you? Help me help you. And then we can move things around accordingly within the framework of what we're trying to do. But it's just a matter of re-emphasizing some of the things that you hear or see as a need in this building with the Pistons, some of the things that in my career have hurt guys in the past, you know, or the one or two things, generally it's the one thing that has elevated a guy who might have been in his position, that gave him a chance, and giving it to them and allowing them to take it and run with it. And so the development portion of things is what this thing is about, the teaching, and the teaching is what I enjoy. And so I really thank these guys, and I respect them from allowing me to teach and coach them.
Do you have goals for yourself, for the team, for specific players, or all the players that you've set at the beginning of the year?
Always. I think that's part of the plan. You know, you got to have a purpose for what you're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to help anybody involved. You know, I want to try and help my assistants get opportunities, get looks. I want to, you know, they throw the word development around. I just did as well. And that's just for me playing to win. Mm-hmm. If we're going to play to win, that means we're doing the right things. We're doing the things necessary in order for you to get better and develop, right? And so I think all of us can always say we want to win a championship. This team was a game away from the playoffs last year. We want to be in both showcase and at the end of the year. You know, we want to be in the conversation. We want to be in the fight in that time. And then, you know, for me, myself, I looked at the Coach of the Year standings last year. There's a lot of defensive numbers there, which is what I'm about. And so just getting those numbers, those percentages in line with that, I think will be beneficial to the type of team we have, and it fits the identity of our team.
All right, so I have one last question for you. 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 wants to know, because you're on the road a lot. This is travel season for you. What are your essentials that you have to have in your bag, no matter where you go?
I guess I can give three now that I'm thinking about
Let's
it.
give three.
A black hoodie.
Okay.
Air Max 270s.
Okay.
Yeah, like preferably all black, but I'm an all black type of person. And so those two things got to go. And My sound machine. Yeah.
What sound machine?
Yeah.
Is it like a noise?
Yeah,
noise
it's the
machine?
noise.
Yeah.
The waves, the elevated train, the woods, all that stuff.
Just helps you sleep.
I don't know if it actually helps, but it feels like it.
Whatever works.
It feels like it does.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, I got to have the black hoodie.
Are you superstitious?
No.
No? Because it seems like the all black fit. Is that just your thing? Like I have to have the black fit, or it doesn't feel right?
Guilty as charged. Yeah, I'm an all black. Yeah. Generally, it might be the Seattle, the grunge background, but that's just been a thing of mine. And 270s right now are the most comfortable shoe for me. I think I own every color that's come out, but I'm a big walker. Like when we get to a city, I immediately drop the bag. I'm out for 2.5, 3 hours. Just get lost, roam around, come back.
Are there any cities that have surprised you? Like you when you like this is
Actually,
either better than I expected, or it didn't quite live up to the expectations?
Detroit.
I'm going to assume it is better than expected.
It's definitely like I didn't give it a chance. I should have given it a chance.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed Detroit, but every time I come here, it's like 4 feet of snow on the ground. It's just freezing. You know, I'm on the bus. I'm in. I'm out. I did not walk in Detroit for the most part, but now that I'm here,
we're going to see you out.
Yeah, I am out
in the black Air Max, black hoodie, walking to Detroit.
Tonight, probably.
Tonight,
somewhere.
for sure. All right. If anybody spot him, send us some pictures. Jamelle, I want to thank you for being here. You're the third guest. You're awesome, man.
Appreciate you. Love being here. Love the opportunity. Love the support. It should be a good year for us.
Of course. And everybody, please, if you have not, go to Motor City Cruise website. Look up the games. They're a really good team to watch. They're a fun team to watch. Great coach. They're going to do some things this year.
Looking forward to it. Plan to.
Thank you for watching the official Detroit Pistons podcast. Again, like always, if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe. Listen wherever you can, Apple, Spotify. But also, one last thing before you go. We had another podcast launch, 3520 with Ty Mopkins. If you have not watched 3520, you need to head over and go watch that as well. All great stuff coming from the Detroit Pistons Network.